Hello, neighbors, and welcome back to the neighborhood. I'm Squealer D, and I am back again. And this time, neighbors, we are finally back in the world of money. We had to take a quick little break. I had some things going on. I had a dentist appointment, my friends, and everybody knows that a dentist appointment, you have to go to the dentist appointment, you have to wait for the dentist appointment, you have to come home from the dentist appointment, your teeth feel funny. So, we didn't do it that day. That was Thursday. And then Friday was shopping day, guys. Every day, every month, at the beginning of the month, I have a big fat shopping day. Do you? Let me know in the comments if you shop for all your food at once or if you guys are the type of people that buy your food as you need it. I think that costs a little bit more. And my friends, am saving so that I can start trading on the stock market. Remember, we are saving up. You need to have an emergency fund and then money to trade. So that is what I'm working on. So I went shopping all at once. We did our entire month worth of shopping all in one day. So that takes forever. After you buy the food, it comes in big packages. You have to break it down. You have to put it in the freezer. You have to cut up all the veggies. You have to process them and clean them and then bag them and put them in the freezer. It's like a whole big ordeal. But when you get it done, you are good to go for the rest of the month. So that is how I've been saving money, guys. Probably saving as far as buying your food all at once. We probably saved $500 last month doing that. So it is very, very helpful. It also helps you to eat healthier, guys. What you buy, you tell yourself that is we are saving and that is what you are going to eat. So when you have a bunch of chicken breast in the freezer and you don't feel like chicken breast, you still eat them because that is what's in the freezer. And your goal is to eat everything out of the freezer before the end of the month so that nothing stays over and gets all old and freezer rotten. Or is it called freezer burn? So that was what I was doing on Thursday and Friday. And then I had a wonderful little weekend with the fam. And now we are back in the money, friends. Today we are... on Wednesday, guys, I had technical difficulties on Wednesday. I recorded on Wednesday, and there was no picture. I recorded for 30 minutes with no picture. It took me back to the good old days when I used to record with no sound. I was like, Squealer D, what are we doing? What are we doing? We didn't know what we were doing. But today, friends, we are going to talk about things you need to do or know before you purchase a stock. And one of those things are learning to calculate the EPS. And this is because if you do not know the earnings per share, then you cannot calculate the PE, which is, price to earnings ratio. And in order to calculate the price to earnings ratio, where did it go? Right here. Nope, right here. Price to earnings ratio. Where's the little ratio? So, PE. How to find the PE? Calculating a stock's PE. So, what it is the PE is the earnings over the last 12 months. So, the earnings divided by the earnings per share. So we have to know how to find the earnings per share first, right? So we are going to learn today by Jean Folger. Look, it's a woman who wrote. They heard me, guys. They heard that they never have women writers, or maybe we just never read any of the women writers' things. But this says Jean Folger, has 15 years of experience as a financial writer covering real estate, investing, active trading, the economy, and retirement planning. She's the co-founder of Power Zone Trading, a company that has provided consulting and strategy development services to active traders and investors since 2004. I had a kid in 2004, and she was investing in 2004. I should have invested instead of had the kid. It's reviewed by Margaret, another woman, I'm guessing, and fact-checked by Ariel. Her name is Ariel Courage, an experienced editor, researcher, and former fact-checker. She's not a fact-checker anymore, but she fact-checked this. She's performed editing and fact-checking work for several leading finance publications, including The Motley Fool and Passport to Wall Street. All right, look at it's a whole woman lineup. Well done, Investopedia. Well done. And then, neighbors, we have the coffee today. There we go. My pretty little pretentious 2-layer cup, guys. Look at it. Up close. Have a sip. It's really warm. So the double-walled cup, guys, it feels really cold to the touch. Like your coffee feels like it's going to be horrible and cold. But it's not. Inside is hot. Hot like fire. And that's great because you could get it hot with the steamer. So we got our coffee. We got our introductions. We know what I was doing last weekend. Let me know what you were doing in the comments for the weekend. I like to know what other people do on the weekend. Getting a phone call. Let me know if you guys get increased phone calls from people you don't care about in the morning. I get so many phone calls in the morning that I don't answer. So, if you're going to call me, never call me in the morning. I don't answer. So, what is the formula of calculating earnings per share? How to calculate earnings per share. So, let's look up what earnings per share is first. They should have a little thing. Earnings per share, what it means, and how to calculate it. This is a better article. Who wrote this one? Jason Fernando. I don't know if it's a better article, but it at least says what it is. So earnings per share is a company's net profit divided by the number of common shares it has outstanding. It indicates how much money a company makes for each share of its stock and is a widely used metric for estimating corporate value. So it is net profit divided by the number of common shares it has outstanding. Alrighty. So earnings per share, EPS, is calculated as a company's profit divided by the outstanding shares of its common stock. The resulting number serves as an indicator of a company's profitability. It is common for a company to report EPS that is adjusted for extraordinary items and potential share dilution. What do they consider extraordinary items, guys? Gains or losses from unusual events that are disclosed in a company's financial statement. So like what? Infrequent and unusual events. So like a storm? I don't know. Maybe things like that. So the higher a company's EPS, the more profitable it is considered to be. Alrighty. High EPS? Better company. We got you. So, earnings per share is a company's net profit divided by the number of common shares it has outstanding. EPS indicates how much money a company makes for each share of its stock and is a widely used metric for estimating corporate value. A higher EPS indicates greater value because investors will pay more for a company's shares if they think the company has higher profits relative to its share price. EPS can be arrived at in several forms, such as excluding extraordinary items or discontinued operations, or on a diluted basis. Like other financial metrics, earnings per share is most valuable when compared against competitor metrics, companies of the same industry, or across a period of time. So, earnings per share value is calculated as net income, also known as profits or earnings, divided by available shares. A more refined calculation adjusts the numerator and denominator for shares that could be created through options, convertible debt, or warrants. The numerator on the equation is also more relevant if it is adjusted for continuing operations. So the earnings per share is the net income minus preferred dividends divided by the end of period common shares outstanding. To calculate a company's EPS, the balance sheet and income statement are used to find the period end number of common shares, dividends paid on preferred stock, and the net income or earnings. It's more accurate to use a weighted average number of common shares over the reported term because the number of shares can change over time. Any stock dividends or splits that occur must be reflected in the calculation of the weighted average number of shares outstanding. Some data sources simply simplify the calculation by using the number of shares outstanding at the end of period. So, annual earnings per share, annual diluted EPS for Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, Google, Tesla, Ford, Microsoft, and Bank of America. Okay. So, Alrighty. Examples. Say that the calculation of EPS for 3 companies at the end of the fiscal year was as followed. Ford had a net income of $7.6 billion with 0 preferred dividends, and the weighted common shares was $3.98 billion. Basic EPS is $7.6 billion divided by $3.9 billion gives you $1.91. So it had no dividends, so we didn't have to subtract it. We just took the net income divided by the weighted common shares at the end. This divided by this. So Bank of America, if it didn't have preferred dividends, this would be gone. It would just be 18 divided by 10. But because it had preferred dividends, it's 18.323 minus 1.61 and then divided by this. So NVIDIA has no preferred dividends. So we take 1.67 and we divide it by 0.541 and you get 3.09. That's their basic earnings per share. So let us see if we can find somebody else's off of what we know. So we'll search for Apple. Apple's always our example. It's a good example. It does a lot of stuff. It goes up, it goes down. It's wondrous. So what do we need? We need net income. Well, their EPS is already listed here. They already have it listed. So where does their net income come from? Let's look at their financials. Net income. Okay. Well, so here's the diluted. It was this net income divided by this. So let's see if that's what we get. I think it is the diluted income, or not net income, which is 99.8. Divided by the diluted average shares. $6.11 exactly. So all we have to do in order to find this for any company is find their net income for whichever quarter you're looking at it, and then their basic EPS or their diluted EPS is based on the basic average shares or the diluted average shares. And all you do is divide it into the big one. Take the little one and divide it into the big one. Use just a basic calculator like this, guys. It's not hard. You can do this even if you're not good at math. So, earnings per share is one of the most important metrics employed when determining a firm's profitability on an absolute basis. It is a major component of calculating the price to earnings ratio, where the E and PE refers to EPS. By dividing a company's share price by its earnings per share, an investor can see the value of a stock in terms of how much the market is willing to pay for each dollar of earnings. EPS is one of the many indicators you could use to pick stocks. If you have an interest in stock trading or investing, your next step is to choose a broker that works for your investment style. Comparing EPS in absolute terms may not have much meaning to investors because ordinary shareholders do not have direct access to the earnings. Instead, investors will compare EPS with the share price of the stock to determine the value of earnings and how investors feel about future growth. So, the formula in the table above calculates the basic EPS of each of these select companies. Basic EPS does not factor in the dilutive effect of shares that could be issued by the company. When the capital structure of a company includes items such as stock options, warrants, or restricted stock units, RSU, these investments, if exercised, could increase the total number of shares outstanding in the market. To better illustrate the effects of additional securities on per share earnings, companies also report the diluted EPS, which assumes that all shares that could be outstanding have been issued. For example, the total number of shares that could be created and issued from NVIDIA's convertible instruments for the fiscal year that ended in 2017 was 23 million. If this number is added to its total shares outstanding, its diluted weighted average shares outstanding will be 54 million plus 23 million, which is 564 million shares. The company's diluted EPS is therefore 1.67 billion divided by the 0.564 million equals 2.96. If we didn't divide that, this would be higher, which would give you the idea that the EPS was higher than it actually is because of the diluted shares. So sometimes an adjustment to the numerator is required when calculating a fully diluted EPS. For example, sometimes a lender will provide a loan that allows them to convert the debt into shares under certain conditions. The shares that would be created by the convertible debt should be included in the denominator of the diluted EPS calculation. But if that happened, then the company wouldn't have paid interest on the debt. In this case, the company or analyst will add the interest paid on convertible debt back into the numerator of the EPS calculation so that the result isn't distorted. So what they mean is, if they have outstanding money, this money number on the top, this is the numerator, guys. The bottom is the denominator. Numerator is number one, so it's up on top. Or denominator is down on the bottom. Just remember that. Down, denominator. And then numerator is number one up on top. So the numerator would be wrong if you didn't add that amount back up in here. So that's what they're saying. Sometimes they add that back up in here so they can get a completely exact right number. So EPS excluding extraordinary items. Earnings per share can be distorted, both intentionally and unintentionally, by several factors. Analysts use variations of the basic EPS formula to avoid the most common ways the EPS may be inflated. So what they're saying is, if you don't fix that top number for money that for convertible instruments for the fiscal year that had shares outstanding, then that's going to be inflated or wrong. And if you don't make sure that you get the denominator right, that's going to be wrong. So imagine a company that owns two factories that make cell phone screens. The land on which one of the factories sits has become very valuable as new developments have surrounded it over the past few years. The company's management team decides to sell the factory and build another one on less valuable land. This transaction creates a windfall profit for the firm. Though this land sale has created real profits for the company and its shareholders, it's considered an extraordinary item because there's no reason to believe the company can repeat that transaction in the future. Shareholders might be misled if the windfall is included in the numerator of the EPS equation, so it's excluded. A similar argument could be made if the company had an unusual loss. Maybe the factory burned down, which would temporarily decrease the EPS and should be excluded for the same reason. So, net income minus or plus the extraordinary items and the dividends gives you the weighted average common shares. So, a company started the year with 500 stores and had an EPS of $5. However, assume that this company closed 100 stores over that period and ended with 400 stores. An analyst will want to know what the EPS was just for the 400 stores the company plans to continue with into the next period. In this example, that could increase the EPS because the 100 closed stores were perhaps operating at a loss. By evaluating EPS from continuing operations, an analyst is better able to compare prior performance to current performance. An important aspect of EPS is often ignored is the capital that is required to generate the earnings, net income, in the calculation. Two companies could generate the same EPS, but one could do so with fewer net assets. That company would be more efficient at using its capital to generate income, and all other things being equal, would be a better company in terms of efficiency. A metric that can be used to identify more efficient companies is the ROE, the return on equity. Although EPS is widely used as a way to track a company's performance, shareholders do not have direct access to those profits. A portion of the earnings may be distributed as a dividend, but all or a portion of the EPS can be retained by the company. Shareholders, through their representatives on the board of directors, would have to change the portion of EPS that is distributed through dividends to access more of those profits. So, making a comparison of the PE ratio within an industry group can be helpful, though in unexpected ways. Although it seems like a stock that costs more relative to its EPS when compared to peers might be overvalued, the opposite tends to be the rule. Regardless of its historical EPS, investors are willing to pay more for a stock if it's expected to grow or outperform its peers. In a bull market, it's normal for the stocks with the highest PE ratios in a stock comp index to outperform the average of the other stock in the index. What is a good EPS? What counts as a good EPS will depend on factors such as the recent performance of a company, the performance of its competitors, and the expectations of the analysts who follow the stock. Sometimes a company might report growing EPS, but the stock might decline in price if analysts were expecting an even higher number. Likewise, a shrinking EPS figure might nonetheless lead to a price increase if analysts were expecting an even worse result. It's important to always judge EPS in relation to the company's share price, such as looking at the company's PE or earnings yield. What is the difference between basic EPS and diluted EPS? Analysts will sometimes distinguish between basic and diluted EPS. Basic EPS consists of the company's net income divided by its outstanding shares. It's the figure most commonly reported in the financial media and is also the simplest definition of EPS. Diluted EPS, on the other hand, will always be equal to or lower than basic EPS because it includes a more expansive definition of the company's shares outstanding. Specifically, it incorporates shares that are not currently outstanding but could become outstanding if the stock's options and other convertible securities were to be exercised. So that is good to know, guys, because you could know what the basic is and then what it is if everything falls to crap, right? Like if all this goes through, this is what it's going to be. So it's kind of beneficial to know both numbers, the EPS and the adjusted EPS. Okay, so what are some limitations of EPS? When looking at EPS to make an investment or trading decision, be aware of some possible drawbacks. For instance, a company can game its EPS by buying back stock, reducing the number of shares outstanding, and inflating the EPS number given the same level of earnings. Changes to accounting policy for reporting earnings can also change EPS. EPS also does not take into account the price of the share, so it has little to say about whether a company's stock is over or undervalued. How do you calculate EPS using Excel? After collecting the necessary data, input the net income, preferred dividends, and number of common shares outstanding into 3 adjacent cells, say B3, 4, and 5. In cell B6, input the formula B3 minus B4 to subtract preferred dividends from the net income. In cell B7, input the formula B6 divided by B5 to render the EPS ratio, because that is the formula, guys. If you put B3 through B5 is the number of common shares, the preferred dividends, and the net income, you will be subtracting the net income, taking that, subtracting the dividends, and whatever else, if it has dividends or anything else coming out of it, and then you divide it by the shares, right? Shares outstanding. So the bottom line, earnings per share is an important profitability measure used in relating a stock's price to a company's actual earnings. In general, higher EPS is better, but one has to consider the number of shares outstanding, the potential for share dilution, and earnings trends over time. If a company misses or beats analysts' consensus expectations for EPS, their shares can either crash or rally, respectively. So let us bop back over to our other one. What is this one? New. What are we at? So this one is what we'll do tomorrow. We learned about how to find earnings per share. Tomorrow, we're going to learn all about price to earnings ratio, which uses EPS to figure out price to earnings ratio, guys. If we take this one step at a time, it will not be as hard as you're thinking it is. So knock those bad memories or those bad thoughts right out of your mind, because tomorrow is going to be super easy. For now, we're going to close that and we're going to bop over here and check out the news. We're going to make this an easy day, guys, because I don't want to overwhelm you. It's the beginning of the week and we took a long weekend. So inflation rises at its slowest annual rate since April of 2021. Stocks rise as inflation continues to cool. Netflix stock climbs higher on bullish Wall Street sentiment. I can't believe people are still paying for Netflix. Investors don't think the Fed is done yet. I don't either. I think the Fed's going to rake it again. Raise it on up. Investors looking for less loved sectors amid inflation. U.S. making steady progress in fight against inflation. Steady progress against the fight against inflation, but they literally made the inflation. Egg prices see largest monthly decline in 72 years. That's because they were freaking $1 million, guys. Of course, it goes down a lot when they're up a lot. I don't like how they make this look like a good thing. Like, oh, inflation's going down, guys, but your pay ain't going up. It's not a good thing. Why do they make it seem like a good thing in the news all the time? It's not a good thing. Warren Buffett transformed his neighbor's life savings of $67,000 into $400 million. Yeah. Multi-millionaire Swedish pop star ripped for classic McDonald's comment. No one is lesser than you. What did she say? Zara Larsson. I never even heard of Zara Larsson. But not for the reason she probably hoped. Instead of her emerging acting career taking center stage, it's her classist comment about working at McDonald's. The Swedish singer turned actress with a reported net income of $10 million is making her Netflix debut. Of course she's on Netflix, guy. I just told you Netflix is trash. So, of course, it would have trash people trying to be trash actors. So, she discussed dipping her toes into acting to the lowest someone can fall. Okay, but here you are seeing it, so I guess it worked, Larson said, while adding the title, always been supportive of her career. She signed off the tweet, I heard McDonald's wanted to interview you for new shifts. What? I don't even get what she said. Okay, but here you are seeing it, so I guess it worked. And Pop Crave have always been genuinely supportive of me, so why wouldn't I give them my time? I heard McDonald's wanted to interview for you. Oh, doing an interview with Pop Crave is kind of the lowest someone can fall. Oh my God. This would be like me doing an interview with Oomph. Who's Oomph? I don't know who any of these people are. We're about to have a lesson, guys. What is Pop Crave? This gal got mad that they said, oh, Pop Crave is a Twitter, guys. Okay, I didn't know Pop Crave. I guess we got to check out Pop Crave, huh? Pop Crave, your go-to source for everything pop culture. It's got 1.4 million followers. That's not really that many followers. I mean, 1.4 million. 5 years ago today, Nicki Minaj released Bed. Oh, 4 years ago, Taylor released You Need to Calm Down. It doesn't really say much, huh? I guess it's just like Doja Cat. Doja Cat is the epitome of advertisement, guys. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Doja Cat advertisements on your Amazon packages. How smart is that? Can we get a Squealer D package from Amazon, please? I want Squealer D all over the packages, just like Doja Cat. So, I don't know. They're going to have live action Moana? Who's going to play Moana? I bet you that Moana is not going to be an islander. Let's see. Who plays Moana? Who plays live action Moana? I spelt it wrong. Oh, it is an islander. I don't know if she's an islander, but at least she's not white. I don't know what she is. I'm going to take back the islander statement, but at least she's not white. They had a bad feeling that they were going to throw a white girl in there. Not that anything's wrong with being white. I'm white. But you should represent who you represent in a movie because we have them. Back in the day when there was only 4 actors, I could see that those 4 actors played everything. But these days, we have a badillion actors, and they need to be able to act. We shouldn't have The Rock playing every male character in Hollywood. I mean, there's a million dudes in America that look a lot like The Rock. Really. The Rock doesn't have to play every single movie. Let's get some new actors in there, guys. Brad Pitt doesn't have to play every single movie. I don't understand people. They want to see the same people. I actually thought it was going to be that little girl. Who's that cute little girl? What's her name? She played Spider-Man movie. The Spider-Man girl? What's that girl? That little Spider-Man girl, she's cute, and I thought it was going to be her. Where is she? Spider-Man movie girl. Who is the Spider-Man movie girl? I thought it was that Spider-Man movie girl. What's her name? Well, which one am I talking about? I'm not talking about Kirsten Dunst. Not that. She's the old Spider-Man girl. Who's the new Spider-Man girl? Not Gwen. Who's the one that plays with Miles Morales? This girl. This little girl. Mary Jane. No. This little girl right here. What's her name? What's that girl's name right there? Her. I thought that this girl was going to be Moana. That's what I heard. What is that girl's name? Kristen Dunst, Emma Stone. That's not her name. What's her name? That's her. Why doesn't it say her name? This is ridiculous. How do they got pictures of somebody and don't say her name? So she's the girl with Miles Morales, right? I don't even remember the Miles Morales one. A live action. I want to see the live action. Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know what that girl's name is, but I thought that girl was going to be Moana. She would work as Moana too. I'm not even being hateful. That girl would work as Moana, but somebody told me that girl was going to be Moana. Not that girl. Who's that girl? Laura Harrier. Why does it tell me who Laura Harrier is, but it doesn't tell me who this little girl is? What's this girl's name? My daughter would know this girl's name in 1.2 seconds. She probably knows this boy's name. But anyway. Okay, Pop Crave. That's Pop Crave, guys. They tell us things. So then they made fun of that girl for being on Pop Crave. Okay, I see. So they told Zara, ha, 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 for being on Pop Crave. And she said, yeah, I heard McDonald's wanted an interview for you for new shifts. Okay, well, let me tell you both in Angel Deluxe and Zara Larson. Not everybody gets to be born and get to become an actress / music star, right? Not everybody gets to do that, guys. So, F her for saying that this girl could go work at McDonald's. Because, I mean, what is this girl saying? What's this? Oomph. I don't even know what oomph is. I don't know what anything is when these kids talk. I'm like the oldest person ever, one of my followers. Oh. So, me doing an interview with one of my followers. Who's Angel Deluxe? Why wouldn't she do one with one of her followers? Don't follow this girl. So, the lowest that someone can fall is her doing an interview with one of her followers. Angel Deluxe, you deserve to have no followers for saying that. Just like Zara is making fun of McDonald's people, you are literally making fun of your followers. Like, doing an interview with Pop Crave is kind of the lowest someone can fall. And it would be like me doing an interview with one of my followers. So, Angel Deluxe, who are you? Because you think that you are better than your followers, right? Angel Deluxe, who is she? A SoundCloud? No, that can't be her. This girl. I don't know who Angel Deluxe is, but let's see her. Angel Deluxe. She auditioned for the now scrap Madonna biopic. That's okay. Who cares? Why is she hating on this girl? Everybody, stream Mariah Carey. Who is this girl? Who is she? am. She got 4,000 tweets and 538 followers. Well, let me tell your followers, whoever she is, that she thinks that you're the lowest of the low. She literally said it. She said it would be like me doing an interview with one of my followers. With her 500 people following her, she shouldn't act like that, right? This girl only has 538 followers, right? 538 people, and she joined in 10 years ago. She shouldn't act like that. That's ugly. People are ugly. Making fun of working class jobs, excellent. You're a genius. And making fun of your 538 followers, telling them that they're the kind of lowest someone can fall. Like, how can she compare this to her doing an interview with her people? I don't get it. Make stuff with children make sense, guys. And these women act like little children. I said it. I don't know who Laura Larson is or Angel Larson or whatever their names were, but they're all like little children. First, it was quiet quitting. Now workers are facing off with their bosses. That's great. Let's see a face-off. Half of workers aren't engaged on the job, and there's a growing share of the workforce that's resentful that their needs aren't being met. Oh, they said half of the workforce isn't productive. Half of workers aren't engaged on the job. So they want you to come to work for low pay and be engaged, guys. Gosh, why can't you guys go there and be the good slaves that they want you to be? Stop going to work and acting like you have other things on your mind and in your life, people. Jeez, go to work hard, and shut your lips. That's what they want you to do. Gosh, why can't people just do what corporations want them to do? I don't get it, people. So, I think that that's it for this time. Oh, look, we got comments. I love it when they have comments. What do these people think is the number one priority of business? Make a profit. If the owners aren't happy, then no one deserves to be happy. Whoa, this guy. Half the employees are committed to making the company a success are the ones that will succeed. Those are just putting in time. That's funny. He said, make a profit. Okay. Well, what is the number one priority of a worker? I would think theirs would be to make a profit also. So if they're going there to make a profit and they don't make a profit, they just make a crappy salary, then nobody's getting what they wanted. Perhaps if you gave the worker what they wanted, the business will get what they want and make a profit. Just saying. Some workers need to be educated that he who writes the check has all the power. If you don't like your boss or job, quit. It's really that simple. I'm going to downvote you. Oh, I can't downvote. Man, why don't I log in so we can downvote people? That's crazy. They said if you don't like your job, quit. And then they complain that nobody wants to work. But of course they don't want to work. Because they don't get paid enough. That's funny. We have a storm coming. A liquidity shock. That's funny. Let's see what else these people have to say. These people get so mad. They feel like they have to go to work. Like they have to work. So then they get so mad that they have to work that they want everybody to work. And they want everybody to work hard and for low wages, guys. I don't understand why, but older people who worked really hard for low wages, they want all of us to work really hard for low wages. They don't want things to change. They want the good old days to stay the way they were. Even though the good old days are literally killing America. The good old days are smothering us. We cannot survive the way they did in the good old days. But people from the good old days, they don't want to lose that good old day feeling. Because guess what, guys? People in the good old days, they were empowered, right? If you were in charge in the good old days, you were in charge. You could tell people to shut up. You could tell women what you wanted to tell women. You could tell everybody. You could tell your workers how to dress, how to wear their hair, what tattoos not to have, how to talk, what to say in the office, if they could go to church or not go to church. A worker could literally tell an employer could literally tell their employees anything, guys, anything. And that's the way these old people want it. And when I say old people, I mean older than us. The older generation that own these corporations, Google it. Google who own these corporations, who owns most of the McDonald's, who owns most of the coffee shops, who owns all these places that people work, the grocery stores, all the restaurants, guys. It's owned by a majority of elderly people, older than me, over 40 years old, are business owners, guys. Google it. So these business owners, they were around when you had to work real hard and you had to listen to your employer. And that's what they want us to still do. But guess what? That doesn't work for the normal person anymore. To shut up, sit down, and make $7 an hour. Did you guys know that the federal minimum wage is $7 an hour? You would have to work 3 jobs to make $21 an hour. It takes 2 people, $21 an hour, for a family of 4 to make it. So if you're a family of 4, but you only have 1 job and you make $7 an hour, you're FUCK'd. Big hard time, guys. Sorry, but you are. And that is just the crux of it. And those old people, they want you to still make $7 an hour. That's why the national federal minimum wage is $7 an hour, because they set it. I didn't set that wage. You didn't set that wage. Our children sure didn't set that wage when they realized how much an iPhone costs and how long it would take them to work for $7 an hour to get an iPhone. So if us young people are not deciding that, and we just have to shut up and listen to the old people, that's why our country is falling apart. That won't work anymore, guys. We have too much. Our kids understand too much. People are saying, oh, well, we can't control our kids. That's because you gave away control of your children. That's just what it is. You gave away control, and now they have control, and they're trying to exercise said control. So you can either be under their control, or you do what the hell you want and act like a normal human being. We are not animals, guys. It's got to stop acting like animals, because these people, aren't these workers concerned about their paychecks? It's baffling. What are you talking about, SST? Of course they're worried about their paychecks. They're poor. They've always worried about their paycheck. Now they're even more worried because their paycheck will not cover what they need it to cover, and they're working their butts off. Like, these people right here that are talking are out of touch. They work a hard job. They probably don't get paid enough, and they think it's okay because they've been told that that's the way America works. And if we don't do that, guys, America's going to end. If you don't work hard and be a slave and have a slave mentality, this world's going to end. That's what they tell you. It's that scare tactics. If you don't go pay all your bills, the world's going to end. No, if you don't pay your credit card bills, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a bill. You are not going to die. You're not going to go to jail. Your kids aren't going to leave you. Your wife's not going to run away. She might run away. I can't promise you that. But she's not going to do it just because you didn't pay your future bills. Like, people don't think about themselves before they think about their bills, and that is because people like this put comments like this. That's baffling. Aren't you concerned about your kids? I'm sure they were concerned about them kids when they went to the food bank, even though they work full time. Like, why is a family going to a food bank when they have full-time jobs, guys? That means that the companies that are paying us, that's what's baffling. The companies that are paying us are not paying us enough. We're going to food banks. We're getting food stamps, and we're working jobs. How can Walmart talk about being an employer when a large percentage of their workforce gets food stamps, guys? F Walmart. Why do we have a Walmart if we're still giving their workers food stamps? Why? Why not just not make them work at Walmart, stay home with your kids, teach them better, and get food stamps? It doesn't make any sense. Why would we want those parents to go to work and leave their kids all alone, home with crappy, cheap wage sitters? We talk about childcare in this country and how it can't be afforded. Well, it can't be afforded when you're working at Walmart and getting food stamps. And then people want to say, it's baffling. Don't they care about their paychecks? It's baffling. It is baffling. It's baffling that we want them to go to work and still receive food stamps. We should close Walmart down when they said, okay, guys, we're going to give them a wage, but they need to have food stamps to make up for the wage that we're paying. Why? Why do we have Walmart? To bring Chinese stuff here that is not good for us, so much plastics in our country that we don't have a place to throw it away, guys. That's what we're doing. But the people that have money, they keep making more money, and the people that don't have money, it's okay, let them get on welfare. And then old Jay will complain and be like, it's baffling, why do they get welfare? Well, because they work at Walmart, Jay, and you go to Walmart and you need them to ring you up. So they get paid crappily at Walmart, and then they have to go and get food stamps to buy their food at Walmart. And guess what, guys? Guess what Walmart sells? Probably Snoop Loops. Unhealthy food. Snoop Loops. Look it up. Snoop got some cereal for you guys. Speaking of bad business, guys, here you go. Snoop Loops. You guys want some good cereal for your kids? Enjoy a bowl of Snoop cereal. Frosted Drizzlers. Cinnamon Toasties. Fruity Hoops with marshmallows. And ask Master P. Is it Master P that's in with him? I don't know. One of the other rappers, I think is Master P. He said, Snoop Loop's got lots of marshmallows. You guys won't be looking for our marshmallows. We made sure to put lots of sugar in here. You guys, 19 grams of sugar in one serving of Snoop Loops. You know why? Because Snoop doesn't care about your kids. You know who else doesn't care about your kids? Amazon, because they're selling this stuff. Snoop has all the money in the world, and he decided to come out with something. Here you go. The very first ingredient is sugar. It's $5.99 for a box of Snoop Loops, and it's got 19 grams of sugar, and the very first ingredient is sugar, guys. Sugar, corn syrup. What else? Whole grain oat flour, corn syrup. This thing lists sugar 4 times. Look, guys, one time, marshmallows. That's 2 times. 3 times. Hold on, we're not done yet. 4 times. 4 times this thing lists sugar as an ingredient. The dude might as well be selling your kids Snickers for breakfast. Literally. But it's okay, because he's Snoop Dogg. He's rich, man. He's got a lot of money, and it's real cool. We're eating our Snoop cereal, and my kids are real happy. No, your kids are going to die before they're supposed to, because all you feed them is sugar. Way to go, Snoop. Hey, guys, how many people think Snoop or Master P and their kids eat Snoop Loops? Raise your hand in the comments if you actually think Snoop Dogg is sitting at his table with Martha Stewart eating Broadest Food Snoop cereal. Fruity Hoops with marshmallows. He's not, guys. Snoop Dogg's children, his kids, they do not eat Snoop Loops. And that's just what it is. Anybody is going to feed their kids straight sugar for breakfast. And if you do, stop it. Right now, your kids are going to get type 2 diabetes. These things right here are asking for diabetes. You buy these things, and you're asking for your children to have diabetes. It's got 4 different types of sugar in it. The first ingredient, sugar, guys. You know what they say about the first ingredient? Google it. If you don't understand, you need to Google that. What is the first listed ingredient, guys? You want to know what it is? What is the first ingredient listed on a food label? Guess what it is? The ingredient that weighs the most is listed first. You know what that means, guys? The thing that they use the most in this cereal is sugar, and then corn flour, and then wheat flour, and then marshmallows, which is also sugar. And then they use whole grain oat flour with more sugar. That's all this cereal is sugar. Way to go, Snoop Dogg. Clap, clap for you. You know who else sells sugar, guys, a lot? And we're talking about investing. Because all Snoop Dogg is really doing is investing. But you know what else is investing? Berkshire Hathaway invests in sugar too, guys. He makes a whole bunch of money. And that's it for today. Think about what you're going to invest in. But don't invest it into your tummy. Have a great day, neighbors, and I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Be there or be square.